You know, you eat cornbread, you turn black. You know, that would be some kind of, that would be a trip if that happened.
It was just this whole culture thing that happened in the 70s where it was cool.
Tommy Davidson, a standout talent on In Living Color, once shared the stage with some of Hollywood's biggest stars, including Jamie Foxx, Marlon Wayans, and even Jennifer Lopez. So why has he seemingly disappeared from the Hollywood spotlight? Rumors suggest that Hollywood's hidden secrets may have been too much for Tommy to keep quiet about. What exactly did he witness? He has mentioned that working with people in the industry is not like working with family. You don't form the same kind of relationships, and there's more to it than that. It's said that Tommy Davidson attended Diddy's infamous parties.
You're working with people that you don't know. So you don't really have the...
Even then, Diddy's parties had a notorious reputation, and Tommy witnessed it firsthand. But what made him decide to finally speak out? What did he experience at these parties that changed his perspective on Hollywood? Anything could happen at these gatherings. Columns reportedly organized and directed the performances, calling them freak-offs, and often recording them electronically. But the wild parties weren't the only reason Davidson left. Rumor has it that his troubles with Hollywood began early in his career. Beginning with stand-up comedy in the 1980s, Tommy's energetic style and impressive impersonations of stars such as Rick James and Prince laid the groundwork for his nearly 40-year career in film, television, and comedy. Despite his success, Davidson's early life wasn't filled with joy. Abandoned at 18 months, he was adopted by a white couple and lived in 3 different states before settling in the DMV area. Although raised in an interracial household, he didn't really understand race until his family moved to Washington, D.C., in the midst of the 1968 riots sparked by the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "I never thought of my parents as white. I didn't even know what white was. What I understood was love, friendship, and honesty. I didn't have a concept of black and white." However, moving to a new environment forced Davidson to confront the realities of race, and being black eventually became a significant part of his identity. Comedy was another defining aspect of who he was. As early as first grade, his headmaster referred to him as a comedian. But Davidson was far more than a class clown. Making people laugh came naturally to him. He once revealed, "My talent is God-given, and that gift has taken me so many places and allowed me to use it in ways I never imagined." This innate gift propelled Davidson to superstardom. After winning an amateur stand-up competition at the legendary Apollo Theater, he moved to Los Angeles, where his career took off. Davidson even lived in the same building as comedian Martin Lawrence and performed at shows for music icons such as Luther Vandross and Anita Baker. In 1990, the television landscape changed forever when the Wayans family introduced In Living Color, the first major black sketch comedy show. The groundbreaking series became a cultural phenomenon, launching the careers of stars such as Jim Carrey, David Alan Grier, Jennifer Lopez, and Rosie Perez, along with Davidson. For any comedian, appearing on a network television show was a major milestone. Even for someone as confident on stage as Davidson, the success came as a surprise. Reflecting on those early days, he admitted, "The first time I stepped in front of the camera, I froze. It hit me. I had been working for years, and now I was finally on television," Tommy Davidson recalled. In Living Color served as a launching pad for numerous opportunities, including starring roles in cult classics such as Woo and Booty Call. But while he was making America laugh every week, Davidson was quietly battling a serious addiction. "I don't make excuses for anything. I had a problem, man, and it almost took me out," he admitted. "If it wasn't for the good people I had around me, I'd be where Elvis Presley, John Belushi, or Chris Farley are. I'm grateful. I don't even trip over it." Davidson credited those around him for picking him up at his lowest moments. "People would sit me down and say, 'Don't do that.' It wasn't a conscious decision. It was just that there were so many options. And I was in an emotional space where I was relying on those things to deal with my reality." Keenan Ivory Wayans, the creator of In Living Color, was among those who intervened. He and others encouraged Davidson to get help. After a brief absence, Davidson returned to the show only to find that things had changed. He noted, "There was a lack of quality in the show at the time, and I missed the friendships I had built with the cast." In addition to these struggles, Davidson revealed that some former co-stars allegedly blacklisted him after he refused to comply with their demands. One such person, according to Davidson, was Jamie Foxx. In an interview with Vlad TV, Davidson opened up about his complex relationship with the multi-talented entertainer. While fans celebrated their on-screen chemistry, Davidson shared a darker, previously untold side of their dynamic. He began by recounting the early days of working with Foxx, setting the stage for a story that hinted at tensions beneath the surface. Tommy Davidson has revealed that his working relationship with Jamie Foxx hasn't always been smooth, and that there were signs of tension early on, even during their first collaboration. While Davidson clarified that the infamous underwear incident didn't happen during their first sketch, it was emblematic of the friction that often marked their interactions. One of their most memorable collaborations was the creation of the Ugly Woman sketch, which became one of the show's most iconic moments. Davidson acknowledged Jamie Foxx's charisma and comedic talent, and credited him with bringing the sketch to life. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable, allowing them to bounce off each other effortlessly. However, Davidson noted that there was a darker dynamic at play behind the scenes. Davidson recounted one particular incident during the Ugly Woman sketch that left a lasting impression. For the scene, Davidson's character wore only a pair of Speedos. The sketch required his character to flee from Foxx's character, who portrayed an exaggerated, ugly woman. As the scene unfolded, Foxx went too far and tried to pull off Davidson's Speedos in front of the entire crew. "The guy grabs the Speedos from behind and tries to rip them off in front of everyone," said Davidson, describing how what should have been a humorous moment turned into something deeply uncomfortable. He felt humiliated and violated by the incident. Holding on to his Speedos to avoid further embarrassment, Davidson was able to prevent the situation from escalating, but the experience left a lasting impression on him. In reflecting on this moment, Davidson's candid account highlighted not only the challenges of their partnership, but also the underlying tensions that complicated their professional relationship. Tommy Davidson revealed that for a brief moment he considered taking physical revenge. "For 2 seconds I turned around and thought, 'I'm going to break your nose, you know what I mean,'" he said. But he quickly decided against it, a decision that proved pivotal and could have significantly altered their relationship and careers. In the interview, Davidson reflected on the fleeting thought of hitting back, but ultimately chose to restrain himself. He argued that a physical altercation would have left a lasting mark on their careers and personal lives. This decision highlighted the intense pressure and discomfort Davidson felt during the incident with Jamie Foxx. In his 2020 memoir, Living in Color, "What's Funny About Me?" Davidson opened up further about his experience with Foxx. He described Foxx as undeniably talented, but also highly competitive, and claimed that his humor often tended to be mercilessly mean. Davidson claimed that Foxx realized that mocking and bullying him would earn him points within Living Color creator Keenan Ivory Wayans. Davidson also recounted another disturbing incident years later during the filming of the 1997 comedy Booty Call. According to Davidson, Foxx rejected the idea of being a supporting actor in the film and was determined to steal every scene he could. Davidson recalled how Foxx once challenged him to a one-on-one basketball game. During the game, Davidson said he was leading 9-0 and was going for a layup when Foxx allegedly charged at him aggressively. "If I'd hit my head on the concrete, that would have been the end of me," Davidson said, emphasizing the seriousness of the encounter. These experiences, both on and off screen, paint a complex picture of the dynamic between the two comedians, marked by moments of tension and competition. In his book, Tommy Davidson wrote, "I was ready to give Jamie some street fighting lessons too, but the crew pulled us apart and held me back." Following the book's release, Davidson spoke to Page Six and revealed that he hasn't heard from Jamie Foxx since the book was published. "I haven't actually heard from him," Davidson said in the interview. However, he clarified that his comments about Foxx weren't meant as shade. "I wasn't throwing shade, I was shedding light," Davidson explained. "The book was really about how my journey could help the reader. I shared the situations I found myself in and how I was able to rise above them. It's a roadmap for the reader to not only understand, but to transcend. In the same interview, Davidson expressed that he's now at peace with Fox's alleged behavior. "I saw one of the Wayans brothers recently, and the love is still the same," he shared. "I'm learning not to rely on the world to change for me to find happiness." Davidson also acknowledged the pressure he and other co-stars felt while working with Fox. "I think part of the reason we worked so hard to be successful was to keep up with Jamie Foxx. We were all playing to keep up with him," he said. Davidson went on to talk about another former colleague, Jennifer Lopez, claiming she changed after becoming famous. Speaking on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast, Davidson recalled how he, his girlfriend and J-Lo, used to hang out during their time on In Living Color. Years later, however, things felt different. Davidson described a moment at an event nearly 17 years ago when he approached Lopez to say hello while standing next to Danny DeVito. She was like, "Hey," but it felt off, like, "So, what's going on? Just living life, you know," he said. He added that a similar encounter happened later, but admitted he didn't take it personally. Tommy also tried to distance himself from her because of his own feelings. He mentioned that people had once again encouraged him to approach her, and despite his hesitation, he did so, only to be met with indifference. It wasn't the first time Tommy recalled such an unwelcoming encounter with the singer and actress. According to reports from the Jasmine brand, Tommy discussed the experience on the Wendy Williams show in 2021. He explained, "Looking back, I've become more sensitive about these things. It's just the way I am when I develop a personal connection with someone and we communicate a lot. When I see her again, I expect to pick up where we left off. I hadn't seen her for a long time," he said. "She became incredibly famous, a fantastic actress, achieved so much, and I was hoping for the same personal connection we once had. But people are people. It's not about her, it's about me." He went on to recall, "We were both at a table with crackers and cheese at an event. I said, 'Girl, you're doing great, this is amazing.' I was about to eat a carrot when she just said, 'Yeah,' and walked away. I thought, maybe there's something wrong with that carrot." Davidson wasn't the only In Living Color cast member to notice Lopez's diva-like behavior. Rosie Perez, the show's choreographer for the Fly Girls, recalled Lopez acting entitled during her time on the show. In her 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, Perez revealed that other dancers had warned her about Lopez's behavior and described how Lopez manipulated the wardrobe and makeup teams. Initially skeptical, Perez didn't fully believe the warnings until Lopez exploded in a fit of rage. "You pick on me every day, I work my ass off, I deliver, and yet you push me aside, you treat me like I'm nothing. I know I'm good. I'm better than any of these girls, and you know it," Perez allegedly told Lopez. Ironically, Perez was the one who persuaded In Living Color creator Keenan Ivory Wayans to hire Lopez, despite their strained relationship and Lopez's firing of Perez, claiming she wanted to avoid roles like hers. Despite this, Perez insisted there was no animosity towards Lopez. Commenting on Lopez's treatment of Davidson, one fan said, "Tommy still seems hurt that Jennifer ignored him. It's disgusting how someone can feel superior to others." A second fan commented that unfortunately situations like this happen all the time. "I've never really liked J-Lo for some reason, so hearing Mr. Davidson tell this story doesn't surprise me at all," the fan said. Davidson went on to shed some light on the less pleasant side of his experience with Will Smith. He recounted an incident in which Will confronted him about a kiss he shared with Jada Pinkett Smith in the 1998 film Woo. According to Davidson, Smith was upset about the lip lock and confronted him about it. "Will and I had an argument," Davidson recalled. "I didn't know why for 15 years because he never told me. He came into my trailer while I was sitting down, stood over me and said, 'I don't appreciate this man.' And I was like, 'What are you talking about?' Davidson was initially confused, but remained calm as Smith stood over him, visibly upset. He remembers Smith biting his lower lip as Jada warned him, and despite asking several times what was wrong, Smith wouldn't explain. I was like, 'Come on, man, just tell me what's going on,' but he kept saying, 'You know what's going on,'" Davidson explained. Eventually, Davidson suggested they talk privately, realizing something was wrong. It wasn't until 15 years later, when Davidson was writing his memoir, Living in Color, that he discovered Smith's problem with the kiss in Wu. Davidson speculated that Smith's frustration stemmed from the last-minute nature of the kissing scene, which had not been rehearsed, resulting in awkward shots. After writing about the incident in his book, Davidson contacted Smith's close friend Charlie Mack to ask if it was okay to mention it. Mack confirmed that Smith had no objection to him telling the story. The comedian also noted that the film's producers had insisted on filming the kiss spontaneously, which made the scene awkward. Following Davidson's revelations, a number of fans have spoken out about the situation. One fan in particular slammed Jada for not clarifying the nature of the kiss with Will. "I absolutely love Tommy Davidson. He's an incredible comedian and actor," the fan commented. "It's unfortunate that Jada didn't fully explain to Will that it was just part of the film. Her lack of disclosure was narcissistic and childish. I'm just glad Tommy is okay, and I'm sure he has a better understanding of who Jada really is now." Davidson's honest portrayal of the often deceptive nature of Hollywood, where the illusion of unity can quickly unravel, has drawn both admiration and criticism. His willingness to expose the less glamorous truths behind the glittering surface of the entertainment industry has earned him acclaim, demonstrating his commitment to authenticity in a world where appearances can often deceive. And with that, the video ended.